A professional guide to IRS Form 56, Notice Concerning Fiduciary Relationship. Introduction. In this guide, we'll review IRS Form 56, the Notice Concerning Fiduciary Relationship. Taxpayers use this form to notify the IRS about the creation or termination of a fiduciary relationship under Internal Revenue Code Section 6903. It is also used to provide qualification for the relationship under Internal Revenue Code Section 6036. However, this form is not used to update the last known address of the person, business, or entity on whose behalf you are acting. For address updates, use IRS Form 8822, Change of Address, or Form 8822B, Change of Address or Responsible Party for a Business. When to use IRS Form 56. IRS Form 56 should be filed by a fiduciary to notify the IRS of the creation or termination of a fiduciary relationship. Examples of fiduciaries include executors or administrators of an estate, guardians or conservators appointed on behalf of individuals, receivers and assignees for the benefit of creditors. Note: bankruptcy trustees, debtors in possession, and other fiduciaries involved in bankruptcy proceedings are subject to notice requirements under Title 11 of the U.S. Code and are not required to file Form 56. Additionally, this form is not used to notify the IRS of authorized representation. Instead, use Form 2848, Power of Attorney and Declaration of Representative. Fiduciary versus authorized representative. The distinction between a fiduciary and an authorized representative lies in how the IRS views their roles. Fiduciary, treated by the IRS as if they are the taxpayer. They have full rights and responsibilities to act on the taxpayer's behalf, such as filing tax returns and paying taxes. Authorized representative acts as an agent for the taxpayer, performing only duties specified on Form 2848. They cannot act beyond what the taxpayer authorizes in writing. Step-by-step guide to completing IRS Form 56. Overview of the form. IRS Form 56 is a two-page form consisting of the following sections. 1. Part 1, Identification. 2. Part 2, Revocation or Termination of Notice. 3. Part 3, Court and Administrative Proceedings. 4. Part 4, Signature. Part 1, Identification. This section identifies the fiduciary relationship and the taxpayer involved. 1. Enter the name, identifying number, SSN, IN, or ITIN, and address of the person or entity you represent. 2. Provide the fiduciary's, name and contact information. Including a phone number is optional. 3. Section A. Check the appropriate box based on your fiduciary capacity. Small black square, 1A, decedent left a will and you are the executor authorized by a court. Small black square, 1B, decedent did not leave a valid will, but you were appointed as executor of the intestate estate. Small black square, 1C, you were appointed as guardian or conservator for a living individual. Small black square, 1D, you are responsible for an estate without a court-appointed representative. Enter the date of death for decedents or the date of your appointment for other fiduciary roles. Section B, indicate the type of taxes and forms you'll be responsible for, e.g., individual income tax, estate tax, employment tax. If your fiduciary authority covers specific years or periods, list them here. Part 2, Revocation or Termination of Notice. Complete this section if you are revoking or terminating a prior fiduciary relationship. 1. 6A. Check this box if your fiduciary authority has been revoked by a court order, and attach a copy of the order. 2. 6B. If a substitute fiduciary is assigned, check this box and include the substitute's name. The substitute must file their own Form 56. 3. Indicate if the revocation is partial or total and provide any relevant documentation, such as a dissolution certificate for a business. Part 3, Court and Administrative Proceedings. Complete this section if your fiduciary role arises from a court or administrative proceeding,
excluding bankruptcy.
Attach a brief description of the assets you are managing and the actions you are authorized to take, e.g., hearings, creditor meetings, asset sales.
Part 4, Signature. Sign and date the form under penalty of perjury, declaring that the information provided is accurate to the best of your knowledge. If applicable, include your title. Additional notes. 1. Multiple fiduciaries. If there are multiple fiduciaries, each must file a separate Form 56 for the person or entity they represent. 2.
Separate forms for each role. If you are acting in different capacities, e.g., executor of an estate and guardian for an individual, file separate forms for each role. 3. Filing instructions. Send Form 56 to the IRS address provided in the form's instructions based on the taxpayer's location.